the field of apparel merchandising. And to do so, you can log on to the official website of the university, www.ignou.ac.in.
Hello learners, welcome to the session. In this session, we will be talking about principles and tools of environmental management. This particular topic is related to the course Environmental Management of MSc Environmental Sciences program. This is an elective course, and in this we get an idea about how companies and corporates can go for environmental management. As we all know that today it is very important for us to consider the environmental impact of any development activity. So the term environmental management has emerged. Let us first of all understand what is the meaning of environmental management, because environment and management, these are two separate disciplines. When we combine both these two terms, then what does it imply? We all know that because of human activities, we have made irreparable loss to the environment, the natural resources, and also to the entire settings of the ecosystems. Environmental management implies making decisions in such a way that we are able to strike a balance between development, economic progress, and environmental protection. It is actually the practice of organizing human activities in such a way so that the impact on the environment is limited. It is an interdisciplinary field. Why I say this? Because it is not just the sciences, but it also involves the public policy, the law, social sciences, etc. So when we talk of environmental management, we must understand that it is an interdisciplinary field that combines science, policy, and socio-economic applications. So what is the impact of society? What is the impact on the development projects on different socio-economic groups? What are the social repercussions of any activity for, say, agriculture or mining or industries, whatever is going on? So we must understand that environmental management is closely linked with various issues which are related to sustainable economic growth. How the economy has to progress in such a manner that we are able to reap the benefits of economic development, but along with this, we are also able to see that there is equality in terms of sharing of the benefits. And also the sanctity of the environment and the resources of the environment are conserved. So this is one of the important. So learners, you must have by now understood what is the meaning of environmental management. What does it mean? Now another thing what you must understand that it implies two aspects. Mainly two things are important when we consider environmental management. One is of course the environmental stability. We all know the impact of various human activities on the environment, and another thing is that socio-economic development. So the various aspects of development, when we look into it in great detail, we find that most of the times it has focused only on the economic aspects, and the result of the one-sided development model or the unplanned development model, what we are seeing today is the neglect of the resources, neglect of the environment. So environmental management does not only means taking care of the nature and protecting the environment and curbing the pollution, but it also seeks to achieve economic progress. It also seeks to strike a balance between the economy and the ecology, and also the society has to benefit because of the efforts. So last few decades, why we are talking so much about sustainable development nowadays? So what has gone wrong in the last few years is that our focus has been over exploitation of all the resources which the nature or the planet Earth is having. So we exploit the resources to the maximum level, and in turn we have caused miseries to the environment. The unequal distribution of the wealth that we are seeing in the society nowadays is leading to unrest, it leading to so many types of social problems. So basically environmental management seeks to achieve balance between environment and socio-economic development. So when you must understand that what are the features of environmental management, what does it comprise of? So it is actually a tool to improve environmental performance in terms of curbing pollution, as I said, minimizing the risks environment related, or also protecting the various life forms which are there on the planet Earth. It is a systematic approach for overseeing environmental affairs of an organization. It addresses concerns related to environment through the evaluation of related practices. It encourages employees to undergo training to achieve desired objectives, and it helps to determine the impact and objectives of a product or service. Learners, you must understand one thing, that when we were discussing environmental management today, we are referring to the practices of the business organizations, whether it is a manufacturing unit or it is a service providing industry. When you look into it, you find that there are various activities and actions going on which may not be in compliance with the environmental rules and regulations. So when I say that an organization is having environmental management system in its place, that means that it will help the company or the organization in some way or the other. It is not just beneficial for the environment per se, but it also helps to achieve so many types of objectives which are important from the organization point of view. For example, it has been mentioned that it looks into the environmental affairs of an organization, how that organization fits in when you look at it from the environmental compliance perspective, how the rules and regulations are being followed, what kind of measures being taken in case of any disasters, how the product is, you can say, manufactured, or how the service is being provided. So looking into the wholesome perspective, it tries to intervene into various aspects of the activities in an organization. So whether it is a small scale or a large scale organization, it may be a multi-dollar company, it may be a small enterprise, but environmental management applies everywhere. So therefore we must also understand that what are the objectives of environmental management, what does it try to what does it try to achieve. So it identifies the environmental problem and finds its solution. It regulates the exploitation and utilization of the natural resources. One of the objectives is to assess the impact of proposed projects and activities on the environment, to review and revise the existing technologies and make them eco-friendly, to formulate laws for the implementation of environmental protection and conservation programs. When you look at it carefully, you will find that the objectives of environmental management are very broad. So they start, once the environmental management starts before the initiation of the activity, before launching any product, before devising any, you can say, any new scheme or any new product or any new industry if being laid down, or any development plan which has in the pipeline, it foresees the environmental impact. It tries to find out that what could be the impact on the environment because of the proposed activity or the plan or the program. So in a nutshell, it tries to review the pre-hand review of the activity, and at every step the care has been taken to see that the impact on the environment is minimum. So how to design the products, how to go for obtaining the raw materials, how to go for packaging, how to go for the distribution, how environmental policy of the organization be framed so that it does not pose threat to the environment. So when you look at it carefully, the objectives of the environmental management, we find that it follows an approach where before the start of any activity, it foresees all the important components, and after the launching of the activity also, it monitors continuously proper evaluation and monitoring of the various processes and the products of the organization, company or the industry is being taken care of, so that the checks is done at every stage and the impact on the environment is minimum, and so that we can say that altogether it ensures that proper environmental management is being done. So learners, now let us understand that what principles does it follow? What are the principles, on what are the guiding forces, we can say, of environmental management? So there are certain principles. The first one is precautionary principles. For example, when we do not know scientifically what is the impact of any chemical or of any substance or any process, it says that always precautions should be taken. We should not wait for any mishap to occur if we do not have any conclusive evidence of any activity or any product. So it says that adequate safeguards, adequate precautionary measures must be taken beforehand to avoid any kind of mishappening in the future. So it says that the precautionary principle says that always precautionary steps and precautions must be taken while initiating any project or any activity, because many a times we are not aware of what could be the consequences. So if we do not know what are the consequences, if you are not aware of what could be the adverse effect, it is always better to follow the precautions. So this is the precautionary principle. Another principle is equity principle. While going through the proposed activity, care must be taken that there is we can ensure the intergenerational and intragenerational equity. We must see that there is fairness, there is justice, and the fruits of the development are shared equally, and the causes of the pollutants, or who are the polluters, they should be seen from the same direction. They should be in the sense that they should be considered equal. So there should be equity both in terms of the polluter, if an industry is, and also in terms of what are the benefits which we are getting out of the any activity. For example, there is a highway construction, or if, for example, there is a dam building. So in that case, there should be the benefits of having that activity should not be such that one part of the society gets benefited and the other part is landless, or the land has been taken, or they are uprooted from their place, or there is a kind of a toxic environment prevailing, so they are not able to live properly. So these kind of adverse situations should not arise. So always there should be equity in terms of suffering and also in terms of getting the benefits out of it. Another important principle is polluter pays principles. Now this has been clearly defined principle which says that where any industry, any company, how much of the pollution is being done, even if it is not treated, even if the emissions are not treated, a proper care is not taken for the control of the effluents or this kind, then the cost of the pollution should be borne by the polluter. That cost may be, for example, the treatment settings must be put in place, and whatever the emissions in the air are going, or water effluents are going, then whoever is the polluter, it should pay for the cost of the pollution. For example, there we know that what comes when it comes to treating the polluted water or the land which is contaminated with pesticides, we know what it takes. It takes not only in terms of the economic cost, but also there is a lot of other cost. We can call it as externalities. So there should be identified that who are the polluters, and they should be bound to pay, not only in terms of the monetary aspect but also in taking care that such type of contamination should be avoided and should be treated, so that the environment of that particular place is not hampered. Then another principle is user pay principle, which means that we know that we are the users of water, underground water. If your mining activity involves minerals, if it is a forest-based activity, then it involves the forest resources. So whatever the resources which are being used by a particular segment, then they should pay for the use of that resources. There is nothing called as free lunch in nature. So if you're using a land, if a company is using a piece of forest area for obtaining the raw material, if we are relying on the ocean resources for getting our natural resources or raw materials, then there should be clear-cut guidelines, there should be clear-cut mandate by virtue of which the users of that natural resources must pay. Now, how it must be paid and what are the guidelines, what are the norms, that has also been specified under the environmental standards reporting, which varies from one place to another, which has been mentioned under various agencies, and international standards have been put in place which guide accordingly. Then there is a principle of participation, which means that for every new thing coming up, for every new setup which is being launched or any new product coming up, there has to be equal participation from all the stakeholders, and the stakeholders involve the customers also, the residents of that area also, the common public also, the government also, civil society bodies, farmers if they are the one of the important links. So there should be equal participations, and decision making also, etc., must also be a kind of a shared responsibility should come. When it says that environmental management, therefore it is said it is not just the duty of the government, or it is not just the responsibility of the organization or the corporates or the business groups, but also it requires the participation of each and everyone, because it affects everyone. So therefore it must ensure that the participation from various sectors, various communities and various stakeholders should come actively. There should be active participation. Then the principle of proportionality, which is the, you can say, the crux of all environmental management, and it says that a proper balance needs to be maintained between the economic growth and the environment utilization or exploitation. So nothing should go beyond any proportions, nothing should go haphazardly, nothing should actually be in such a way that it is one-sided development. So there should be proportional, and there should be a cut, a cap of any industrial activity, economic activity, and a mark should be there that how much of the environment exploitation is being done. So it should not go unchecked. It should be monitored carefully. It should be reported regularly, and it must be seen that it is not going in a one direction, but we have to ensure that the raw material base, the nature also remains intact while we are progressing and making efforts for the economic development. Then there is a principle of multi-sectoral integration, which means that when we it was the notion before that when any activity or development plan is being put in place, it was only the economic perspective which gained prominence, and the other parts were not so much understood, or they were mostly ignored. So when we say that it is a principle of multi-sectoral integration, means, as it has been said earlier also, that it is an interdisciplinary field. So we must consider that the local people, the people who live in those areas, they may be the farmers, they may be the tribals, they may be the local people who have been living there for several generations. So the development should also be in accordance with their development. So while planning any new project or any new plan, when we are putting, we must also see it from various angles. It should not be analyzed only in terms of the benefits in the economic terms, or it should not be only project that how much of the benefit, monetary benefits it will occur, but also we must also take due care to understand that what is the impact on the society, how social, because many times it happens that, for example, the dam construction is being taking place. Although it is projected that it will provide irrigation to so much of hectares of land, or it will provide the drinking water to so much of the lakhs of population, but then many times there is a hidden cost involved where people are uprooted or they lose their lands, and there is so many interrelated things which are happening. So we have to look it from the multi-sectoral lens while we propose any new plan or any new infrastructure development when it comes. So it has to be seen from the multitude of factors. Then there is a principle of subsidiarity, which means that decision making power should be decentralized. It should be a bottom up rather than top down approach. So bottom up approach means the problem should come from the local region, from the you can say from the people who are the main who will be affected. So all the decision making should be decentralized, and those people who would be affected, maybe positively affected, you may say that those people may be benefited, so they should also be informed, and their considerations, their suggestions, their concerns basically should also be taken into account. So it is important to take the inputs of all, and therefore then only we can say that it is the principle of subsidiarity. So these are the principles of environmental management which we have discussed just now. The rest of the principles are like principles of efficiency or the principle of responsibility. They deal when the project is already on. So due care must be taken to see that the water resources, energy resources are not wasted. Proper use of the natural resources should be done in such a manner that none of the resources are exploited. And most of the times it is being taken that once the industry is set up or once the business grows, little care is taken to see the efficiency of how the products are manufactured. So many times there are losses occurring, many times there is a huge generation of the waste happening. Most of the times the deliverables are not so in a good position. Most of the times the transportation costs are very high. So all these factors, must be looked into it, that what is the local requirement of that product or that service, and therefore it should also always be in accordance with the local requirements, and then only we can say that it is efficient. So the principle of efficiency should be there right from the beginning to the end. So it must be everywhere, whether we are getting using the resources or whenever we are delivering the product or the services. It has to be taken care by the organizations that the processes and the products and the mechanisms are efficient, so that there is less wastage of the resources, energy, etc. And another principle is the principle of responsibility, which says that it is the corporates, they have now to comply with the environmental management. It is not just a part of their CSR activity, but now it is mandatory for them to submit their annual environmental performance report. That is a must. So it is the responsibility of the heads of the corporates that they round the year they take into this important thing in their annual reports and everything, that how environment compliance, are they following the rules and regulations properly, are they maintaining the environmental policy, are they looking into life cycle analysis of their various products, how is the design, what kind of innovations are they bringing in, how they are looking into the various waste products which are being generated, how they are making efforts to minimize it. So all these are some of the important factors which must be taken care of, and the use of the resources should be in such a manner that they are sustainable and socially justifiable manner. So in this session we have learnt about how the environmental management is carried out and what are the important principles which must be taken care by the corporate leaders so as to also protect the environment and do economic progress in a socially justifiable manner. Thank you so much.